Welcome to another Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. I am Benjamin, and today I'm going to share with you a video with the theme of ruins on banknotes. And so it's kind of a general theme, and the ruins are sometimes identified, sometimes not. But rest assured, when I do a special one banknote episode, I can do a deep dive and have way more information than I can. But this was a pretty easy theme to put together because as you get a new note, sometimes, the theme gives itself away. And this entire series of notes, this entire theme of notes speaks to my childhood dream of being an archaeologist in the vein of Indiana Jones. I've always wanted to be an archaeologist, and sometimes being a banknote collector, it can be the next best thing. So let's go ahead and get started. This first ruin I'm going to share with you is on a banknote of Peru. And this is a pilot who passed away, and that's why his plane is shown upside down. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that, but it's kind of like when somebody has died in the military and they put their boots backwards in the stirrup. When they show a pilot and his plane upside down, that means he died, and probably died in a plane crash. But the reason this note is in this set is because on the back of the note, we have the ruins of Machu Picchu, which is on my bucket list of places to visit one of these days. We're going to move from Machu Picchu to this Cambodian 100 reels. And lots of themes appear on this note, include the theme of weaving here on the front, but the reason it's included in this video is because you have the ruins of Angkor Wat right there. That is also on my bucket list of things to see. We're going to move from Cambodia to Egypt, and here is an Egyptian pound. And on the face of this Egyptian pound is King Tut. And I have to tell you that it has happened for me that I was able to go to Egypt. So part of my bucket list has been assuaged by getting to visit Egypt. And on the back of this note, the ruins you see belong to some mosques that I don't particularly remember visiting, but they are a ruin because you can see the poor condition of this little shrine here in front of the mosques. We're going to move from there to Greece, which is on my surprise bucket list of places to go visit and ruins to go see. This is like a 25,000 drachma. I like to think that I can read other languages if they were English, and so every time I see this note, I know it says drachma, but I always see it as apoxmai, because that's as close to the English letters as it looks. And on the front we have a statue, which is in itself a ruin, although that's a horrific hairstyle. But on the back of this note, we do have a ruined temple. And it's not one of the ruined temples that you would expect to see. I wonder if it's not one of the Olympian temples, because, they sometimes light the Olympic fire in a temple. And I have no idea what temple that is, but that's definitely one I'm going to look for. I've been to this country as well, so while I didn't see this particular archaeological site, I did enjoy my time in Honduras. Honduras is a country I visited on about 10 or 11 different occasions, and if you've never flown into Tegucigalpa's airport, then wow, that's an adventure in and of itself. I was watching a Travel Channel video, and that airport was like in the top 5 worst airports for landing in the entire world. And I have to tell you, when you can look out your window and see a guy on a donkey walking across the runway, and your plane is just feet over its head, it's positively terrifying for you being on the plane. Donkey seemed okay with it, but this guy wasn't. On this note, you have some little ruins right here that I'm sure had meaning to the people of Honduras, but most of the time when people talk about ruins on a Honduran banknote, they're meaning from the time of the Mayans. And in this case, you have the ruins of Copan. And here we actually have the ruins of a ball court, a ceremonial ball court. And you have in this ball court places where people can watch the game. They play the game. And somewhere is the little stone circle where they have to use their hip, their knee, their elbow, or their wrist to knock a rubber ball through that hole so that they can win. And then everybody on the opposing team can have their head cut off. I'm not kidding, y'all. Archaeology is brutal. Let's move to Hungary next. Here's a 200 forinth that I'm enjoying to show you next. This is King Charles Robert, and I don't know, he just looks like he knows he's having a good hair day. I'll just say that. And let's move it over to the back of the note. And here we have some sort of castle, on a hill. I've got a castle on a hill. And you got a couple of people here in the foreground. I have no idea what castle that is because Hungarian is kind of a strange European language. And this may say Dios Gyorivar, which I have no clue what it means. Or it may be pronounced with letters that don't even match the letters that spell the word because, lots of European languages are like that. We're going to move to Jordan with a half dinar next. And this is the previous king, friend of Israel. Well, friendly enough to Israel. And on the back of the note, you have some Roman ruins and perhaps some Crusader ruins here in the ruined area of Jerash. And while I've been to Israel and I've been to the West Bank, Jordan is not a place I've been to yet. But it is a place I'll visit. We're going to move to Libya next. And this is a Libyan 5 dinars. And we have some sort of clock tower on this side. And I think the ruins on this side are Roman ruins. And they're going to be anonymous at this point because I haven't done a deep dive of the video. But you may notice that there is a predominance of Greek and Roman ruins on these banknotes that I've shown you so far. Until you hit banknotes of the Americas. And then the ruins tend to be Mayan. And this banknote of Belize is no exception. You have a stele here. And then you have, I don't know, I think a little gate right there. They have ruins on both sides. They have some beautiful fish on this side and a lovely rendition of the Queen. And if you look carefully, right there is a portrait of her father, King George VI. And here on the back side of the note, you have a trio of Mayan ruins. You have Altunha, which is a popular cruise ship destination. You have Shunantunich, and then you up here have, what is that one? Lubaantun. And, one of them is a pyramid. 2 of them might be pyramids. 3 of them might be pyramids. They certainly knew how to build buildings that would still be somewhat standing hundreds, if not thousands of years later. We're going to move back to Egypt for this next note. And you have a lovely mosque that is not in a ruin on the face of the note. But when you turn this 100 pounds over, you have a very famous ruin. And I got to see this ruin in person. I mean, they don't let you close enough to touch it with your hand or climb on it or anything. But there it was on the other side of the little wall, probably within 100 yards from where I was standing. And it was impressive to see something that you've only ever seen in National Geographic or postage stamps. One of my favorite ruins that I visited was the Sphinx. We're going to travel back to Greece, and we have another apoxmai, or drachma. And in this case, this looks to be 1,000 drachma. And let's just turn it over and see what's on the back of this side, or the back of this note. Ruins that we've all associated and seen. The temple there at the top. And for some reason, the name of this temple is flying right out of my head. But the Elgin marbles came from these pediments up here. And you have to go to the British Museum to see those marbles. But you can see the rest of the temple here. And actually, for the longest time, this temple was more intact than it is now. But during one of their great wars, they hid a whole bunch of explosives in that temple. And so I believe that's why it doesn't have a roof now. They really raised the roof. I'm sorry about that. Please forgive me and move on with me to this banknote of Iraq. This is a 5 dinar. And this is, let's see, 7 heaven, 8 is earth. So this is a 1981 banknote. So this would be from the time of Saddam Hussein. Not a ruin here, a lovely waterfall. And in a country as dry and deserty looking as Iraq is, that would truly be a paradise to see. But there's lots of historic cultures that were founded in Iraq. In fact, the prophet Isaiah spent most of his life in the area that is now Iraq. And there's, I think, the Assyrians, there's whoever developed Baghdad, all those cultures that traveled and went through Iraq, contributed to the thousands of years of history of Iraq. And if the people of Iraq and the people of Iran and the people of Jordan and the people of Syria and the people of Israel, as well as Egypt, can ever figure their business out, they could be a tourism mecca for the entire world. And, part of me is like, hey, well, money's not everything, but I don't know how the hell all that fighting over there is worth everything either. So I hope they get their acts together. But here's a beautiful ruined palace, probably, that you can find in Iraq. Let's move from Iraq to Pakistan. And you're like, Pakistan? Well, Pakistan has a lot of ruins too, and it borders India, which is full of ruins, and Afghanistan, which is full of ruins, among other countries. So it's a beautiful balanced note, very pretty, I think. And when you turn it over and you take a look at these ruins here, I don't know about y'all, but these are ruins that look impressive to me, and I would enjoy seeing it and figuring out a little bit of the history. We're going to move to Peru next, and this is 1,000 intis, and the front doesn't give way to what's on the back, but look at those mutton chops on this guy. That's a heck of a side beard he's got going on. I'm very impressed. Nice part. That should be on a hairstyle video, I guess. But here on the back, labeled for our convenience, are the ruins of Chan Chan. And I guess you get to go to Peru to see those. So you have the ruins of Chan Chan, and you have Machu Picchu. So lots of reasons to go there. We're going to go to Turkmenistan next. And here's a modern view of some town in Turkmenistan, I'm guessing, on a 5-minute. And when you turn this note over, there is the ruins of what looks to be a mosque. And it looks like it's from the Abu Sayyid period. And you can tell it's a mosque because of this alcove here. A lot of mosques in Afghanistan have this feature as well, and Iran, where the mosque has a front porch with a high arched, sometimes into a point doorway. So if you're a person standing there, you're probably itty bitty right there. And that's how big this mosque is. Definitely one to see. We're going to travel back to Egypt for the next note. And this is a 1 pound with another mosque on the front that looks to be reasonably decent condition. And when you turn this note over to the back, you're going to see one of the most delightful ruins. And I did get to see this. And I happily paid the extra money for the add-on tour, because how many times do you go to Egypt in your life, y'all? Don't let $300 keep you from getting on a plane and flying almost to the border with Sudan so that you can see something as amazing as this. This is the temple of Abu Simbel, and these are the giant Ramses that are in front of it. And when I was there, I was very tiny compared to these giant ruins. And yes, one of the statues was collapsed, and what was amazing was it's in the same position, because as they built this one high dam, this temple was going to be flooded and under lots of water, and so they cut open the mountain and they lasered apart and cut these statues up, and they moved it up and over. So truly an amazing feat. And if you ever get to Egypt, oh my gosh, see that one, because it's definitely a doable visit. Water's going to cost you $3 there, but it's so hot that you're like, take my money. We're moving from there to South America, and we're visiting Paraguay next. And we have another fantastic beard right over here. And when you turn this note over, the ruins you see are the ruins of Humaita. And I don't know what that is. That must be a site from their history. And if I ever do a deep dive video, then I would have more information about this particular ruin. I don't. The final note is from Peru again, and it's an older note, but I've come around to the realization that a note doesn't have to be uncirculated to warrant a position in your collection. And when you turn this note over, it's another view of Machu Picchu. So we started with Machu Picchu and we're ending with Machu Picchu. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of banknotes from around the world that have ruins on them in one way or another. What an awesome way to collect a banknote instead of a postcard. And start doing some research of your own to enhance your own knowledge and your own appreciation of banknotes that are in your collection. I am Benjamin. This is Numismatic Notes with Benjamin. Feel free to like and subscribe, cuss and discuss with me, but share this video and my channel with everybody else. I'm looking forward to getting paid, y'all. Have a jewel of a day.